You're watching 5 Star Live, presented by East Tennessee Spine and Sport. Tennessee's #1 high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from coaches and players, along with highlights, predictions, and up-to-date information about this week's biggest games. Your hosts, Jesse Smithy and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with a 5-star preps team, will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite prep football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
To 5 Star Live at the half tonight. Presented by East Tennessee Spine and Sport. Jesse Smith along with my co-host Kevin Smith. We are at halftime where Clinton trails 14-7 at Oak Ridge. Kevin, Oak Ridge came out. We talked in the pregame show about how all the guys that they had missing. Brian Kelly, their linebacker, senior linebacker, number 33, they utilized him in the pass game and really got going with the pass.
Yeah, I want to give Clinton Oak Ridge, first and foremost, did a really good job of using their tight end H-back in the passing game. You don't see it a whole lot, but it's usually wide open in the middle field, especially against two high safeties. Clinton was staying in two high safeties, and Oak Ridge was making them pay for it. Let's give Clinton a little credit as well defensively. They have found a way to adjust to that and have found stops defensively and are really playing hard and aggressive defensively here late in the second quarter.
Yeah, I haven't seen Brandon Hayward do that much offensively for Oak Ridge. I know they've targeted him a few times. He actually coughed up a punt there in the second quarter that they said Oak Ridge recovered at first glance, so it looked like that ball was Clinton. Calls like that drive coaches mad. They drive fan bases mad. That could have been a game-reversing play right there.
Yeah, and I get where the fans were upset, but quite frankly, Clinton kicked the ball around a little bit, and Hayward somehow found a way to get the ball back. I mean, it was clear that he got the ball back, but a great job by Clinton there to stop Oak Ridge's offense and give them one last chance there at the end of the half. For the Clinton offense.
Yeah, and Clinton took advantage of that. Had to get down to the last second there, but Joshua Keith delivered just an absolute beautiful ball in the back corner of the end zone on the final play. 1.5 seconds left on the clock, and they needed that in a major way.
Yeah, and we talked about this from the very beginning of the show, Jesse. This is a rivalry, a game that Clinton hasn't won in a very long time. They're on at Blankenship Field, is one of the best atmospheres around the state of Tennessee. Jitters early. Had a little trouble with tight end H-back. Defense have done a really good job of slowing down this Oak Ridge offense. Oak Ridge needs to clean up the penalties in the second half. That's killed a couple of their drives. Gritty drive right here by that Clinton offense. Quarterback making plays, running back running really hard, and then making the play when it mattered there in the back of the end zone with a huge catch. This could be that momentum-changing moment for Clinton to try to pull this thing out. We're
starting to see Jawan Goins as the running back for Clinton really start to get going and making cuts, making jukes, skiing the ball, bumping it out on the sidelines and making some plays. They need more of that in the second half.
The offensive line has really stepped up here in the second quarter. I think they struggled early on with Oak Ridge's movement up front. Oak Ridge has been sending some guys. You've seen the offensive line kind of settle in and settle down. He's really running the football hard. And the quarterback from Clinton, man, when he's sitting in the pocket and he has time, he's delivering great footballs. The guy's spinning it, and then he's able to get outside the pocket as well and make some plays with his feet.
You were a football coach for a number of years. You won state championships. Give me one key for each team that they need to do better in the second half that maybe you're looking for.
Oak Ridge has got to stop the penalties. I mean, if they don't stop getting penalties offensively, it's hard to move. It's already hard enough to move the football anyways, much less when you're constantly getting penalties and moving yourself behind the chains. Clinton just needs to continue to build their confidence. I think you see it. It's one of those, it's hard to get it off your back. When you haven't won in so long, you got to have that belief. You got to have that confidence that they can continue to come out here and move the football and build that confidence. I really like their chances here in the second half.
Let's take a look at some scores around the area. A lot of rivalry games going on tonight. Greenville leads at the half 14-0 over Elizabeth, and nothing really, I got their box score, nothing really jumps off the page of anybody having a big night. The running backs are just kind of doing what they're doing, and their veteran leadership at the quarterback position is making plays.
Well, I think you're seeing Greenville's defense again. This is a unit that took some heat early last year, has really come along and grown up, and now you're seeing it again against Elizabeth.
Henderson County leads Fulton 21-7 at the half, so everything kind of going as we expected there. CAK and Boyd Buchanan a little bit closer than I thought. Is 14-7 at the half right now, with Boyd Buchanan leading CAK, and both teams undefeated coming into that
Well,
one.
and that might be a game that goes really quickly. Both teams are going to run the football and really try to ball control, time possession, keep the other offense off the field. I think you're going to see a smash-mouth second half there as well.
Baylor up 42-3 now against Catholic, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Catholic Fighting Irish. Your first league game of the year, and you're down 39 points. Had to do some math in my head there.
Yeah.
39 points at the break.
You know, we were trying to say a little bit about how good this Baylor team is. I mean, this is a team that has state championship aspirations. They just beat Innsworth, who's a very loaded, talented team out of Nashville last week. This Catholic football team has a brutal stretch, Jesse. It's going to be tough sledding here for the next couple of weeks.
Well, we try to hammer it home on this show that, like, look, Catholic compared to schools around here, yeah, they can compete, and they're every bit as good as the West of the world, Powell's, what have you. But up against Baylor's, McCauley's, MBA's, Innsworth's, I mean, they're at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, and now they've got Lipscomb Academy on their schedule as well, who's now ranked in the country. I mean, this is a brutal schedule for Catholic. It's one of those that right now, if you're down there right now at the half, you're looking at the second half for who's playing hard, who's continuing to come out and try to grind it out, and who you're going to go to battle with the next week. You want to see guys keep their heads up and then stay injury-free, obviously.
Carnes and Powell in a back-and-forth affair. Carnes got out to a 21-7 lead. Powell has roared back to take the lead at the half, 28-21. Got a touchdown on the ground there late in the second quarter to take that lead. But it looks like from tweets that I've seen and updates that I've seen, Powell really beating Carnes with the ground game.
Yeah, and we thought, Jordan Potts is he's hard to handle and keep him contained. But it's interesting to see that Powell's running the football. We knew that Carnes was going to run the football. We don't know if they can stop Deshaun Bishop. It's also been interesting to see Carnes getting 2 onside kicks. I think you're going to see more chances by Coach Taylor. He's not messing around. He's trying to win the football game. I love his aggressiveness and how he's trying to win this football game. This is a big game for both teams.
Yeah, it's a region game for both teams. And so no update on the yardage for Deshaun Bishop, but Jordan Potts' dad, he's very vocal on Twitter. He says, hey, when Powell gets some of his wide receivers healthy, along with this ground game that's starting to evolve for Powell, maybe look out. So I don't know who's hurt tonight for Powell in the wide receiving core, but they're using their ground game effectively against
Jesse, but we know what they can do offensively. That hasn't been a question for the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's true.
It's defensively, can they start showing up and getting guys on the ground and causing the offense, get the offense off the field, and get your prolific offense back on the field. Give them more possessions.
One of the games I thought might be a little closer than it is right now is Maryville and Farragut. Maryville just running roughshod all over Farragut tonight. They're up 28-7 at the break, and Noah Vaughn is running the football. He's gotten back there in the Wildcat, and I think I saw Maryville's thrown for 150 yards, and that's what we've been waiting to see out of this offense out at Maryville. Usually they're balanced anyway, but I just hadn't had much going in the past game, and they're showing that tonight.
We discussed earlier in the show, Jesse, in the pregame show about week 1 to week 2, and then maybe even to week 3, some things haven't gone kind of how we thought they would and whatnot. But it really comes down, it's just like the playoffs, Jesse. It's about matchups. This was not a good matchup for Farragut at this time. The defense is still trying to get their legs underneath them. When Noah Vaughn and that offensive line is showing up, that's a very tough matchup for them right now at this point in the season.
I'm not going to go to sleep on this Farragut team. Remember, last year they had a brutal schedule, entered the playoffs maybe right around 500 or so, and made it all the way to the third round. So
got the firepower to stay in there.
Eddie Courtney likes to play difficult schedules and kind of refine that team by fire, so to speak. So we'll see what they turn into by week 11. A game that we differed on, Gibbs and Carter right now. 21-20 at half. Gibbs leads Carter 21-20. Carter, of course, looking for its first win on the season. Gibbs looking to bounce back from a subpar performance, and this is kind of what we thought it would be.
Yeah, we
back and forth.
Yeah.
And so
two different offenses, though. Two completely different mindsets.
I don't want to type up that box score later on tonight, and thankfully I have help doing that. It's going to be a monster of a box score with all kinds of scoring and statistics, but keep an eye on that one. Again, I think that's a region game, so keep an eye on Gibbs and Carter. Looking down through Twitter, get us some more scores. And it looks like, last score, Webb up big against Notre Dame. We kind of thought that would be the case. Webb very, very much in control of its season right now. A lot of talent out on that field. And, again, tonight we're at Oak Ridge. We're at the half. The Wildcats lead Clinton 14-7. Clinton looking to come back in the second half and beat Oak Ridge for the first time since 2009. T. Higgins is here. We got a packed stadium, so enjoy. Are you going to stick around for the second half?
Yeah, and I want to say this about Clinton. I'm really impressed with their composure. This game could have gotten away from them early. They got down really quickly, 14-0.
Right.
Nothing was going right defensively. Offensively, they couldn't get anything going, couldn't get drives going. They've really done a good job of keeping their composure, hanging in there, and then scoring late. That's only going to help them coming out in the second half.
Again, all you parents out there, if you got a guy that's playing tonight, Friday night football, they get injured, make sure you take them to East Tennessee Spine and Sport, somebody that I know and trust, and somebody that's been serving East Tennessee athletes since 1995. Certainly appreciate them being the sponsor of this show. Also, Smoky Mountain Air Show coming up September 10th and 11th. At McGee Tyson Airport. I know a ton of people are going to be there for that. A lot of people excited. Hop on to SmokyMountainAirShow.com for all the information about what you can do, where you can park, what you can bring, all the schedule of events for both days. It's one of the kind of growing traditions here in East Tennessee, and glad we can help them put out the word. So again, Oak Ridge at the half, 14-7. We'll see what happens in half number 2. Full coverage tonight on 5starpreps.com. From this game and a number of others in East Tennessee. Make sure you're tuning in later on tonight.
You're watching 5 Star Live, presented by East Tennessee Spine and Sport. Tennessee's #1 high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from coaches and players, along with highlights, predictions, and up-to-date information about this week's biggest games. Your hosts, Jesse Smithy and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with a 5-star preps team, will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite prep football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.